Today I'm going to be showing you how exactly I made $950 in one day by building and selling an AI voice agent from scratch. The best part, you can do this too, even if you're just getting started. Here's the deal. This is a simple step-by-step tutorial. So grab a coffee, relax, follow along, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to build your first AI voice agent in any language, set up Twilio compliance, and connect it all to Make.com. As a bonus, I'm giving away the best method for beginners to service clients with retail AI. If you're new to the channel, my name is Mark Tomlett. I specialize in building AI voice agents for businesses. I also run one of the largest communities for AI voice entrepreneurs and enthusiasts. If you're excited about AI and you're excited about making money, let's dive right in because you've come to the right place. This is the story behind how I service the client and 3 steps that I used in order to be successful. So listen very carefully. First of all, this client was unlike any client I've ever had, and that's why I want to highlight them. I've had many FAQ agents that I've built for people. FAQ agents, what are those? They're just simple glorified chatbots basically, but over the phone, and they can answer any question. They're amazing, and businesses eat them up. Anyone can build them, and they're really, really fun to make. But this particular client was unique because they wanted the FAQ agent to be in Portuguese. But I don't speak Portuguese. How am I supposed to do that? Well, I said to myself, this might be a challenge, and I almost turned down the project because of it. But then I realized we always have this ideal client that we want in our minds. And the reality is we never end up getting that client. The client has some sort of issue, an idiosyncrasy, which makes it difficult to service the client. There's no one perfect that we're servicing. You have to be able to roll with the punches. So I took this as an opportunity to try, and it ended up proving to be an amazing learning experience. The first step I took was to actually build the agent in English. So what we did was we built the entire system, we tested it, we did the prompt engineering for 3, 4, 5 hours, getting it to the point where it was perfect in English. I started by designing the agent in English because it's always easier to work out the bugs in a language that you understand. And then the next step was translate it to Portuguese. How did we do that? Well, we used ChatGPT and said, look, take this entire prompt now that's perfect and put it into a Brazilian native, very authentic to the original translation version in Portuguese. And now you might be asking, Mark, how did you test it? You don't speak Portuguese. Well, luckily ChatGPT voice mode came out and we were able to use that, and I'll show you briefly in a second how we did all of this, to actually test the agent, speaking to it in a real life way, and then sending the recordings to our client to see how it handled. So in fact, I didn't have to speak a lick of Portuguese in order to fully test this agent in a comprehensive way. Now that I've explained to you the system I used to build the system, what exactly is the system I use to service the client? That is the key important part that I don't see anybody talking about. First off, if somebody had told me this when I was just starting out, I would have been so grateful, because when you're servicing AI voice agent, there's a variety of ways to do it. You can give the customer a special dashboard, or you can build everything on their account. When you're just starting out, the best thing to do, I think, is just to build everything on their account. And the reason for this is because instead of managing the whole system yourself with a custom dashboard, which is great for scaling a full-fledged business like I'm doing, you can actually set everything up directly into your client's backend so they maintain full ownership of the system. It's a win-win. They're happy because they pay for the minutes at cost, and you're happy because you're not tied down running everything on your backend. Why does this model work so well? Well, this model is kind of like building a car for someone and then handing them the keys. You're not tied down to the system, and they can always come back to you for maintenance. Accountant. So the first tool that you'll need is, of course, Retail AI. Now, Retail AI is the most beginner friendly. It's high quality. I absolutely love them as a provider. As a matter of fact, they're sponsoring today's video, for which I'm very grateful, but I've been using their platform long before they even reached out for sponsorship. So I highly recommend you use them to build AI voice agents. And I'll say this, we built out this entire system on Retail AI because they've had the lowest latency consistently, and they also have maintained the highest level of reliability, even higher than that of Vappy. So I really like them. So the second tool you'll need is Twilio. Twilio is really the way in which we connect the agent to a phone number. I natively like to use the retail function, which if you're in the United States, it automatically will give you a phone number that you could buy. But if you want to do this outside of the United States, you're going to have to buy phone numbers in specific countries. And the best way to do that is with Twilio. The third tool you'll need is Google Sheets. It's by far the easiest and most straightforward way for clients to store caller logs. Highly recommend them. And that's what we used for this client. Last is Make.com. Of course, you can't do anything without Make, man. Make is incredible. This tool is really like the glue. It connects everything together. It automates things between retail and Twilio and Google Sheets. And that's what we're going to be using towards the end of this video. video to show you the back end of the system. So we're logged into what the client's backend system looked exactly like. The first thing I did was go ahead and just create a brand new agent. This is the English agent starting from blank. And here you can see we have fresh loadout. I'm just using a default English voice. And then what I did is I went over to my ChatGPT Voice Pioneers prompt builder. This is my dedicated AI agent prompt builder that I use for all my agents. You can find it within my community. It makes a great scaffolding from which you can build agents on top of. This is the client's website, except I've just replaced it with a fake name. And basically what I did is I gave it the client's website and I said, look, build me AI voice agent, best practices that answers questions well, named Mia, about this business. So now we'll automatically use the best system for prompting, which I've programmed into this agent, which is just roles, rules, steps, and skills. I always use that for all my agents. You already know that. And here it's building that out for me. As that's cooking up, let's go back to retail. Here's the quick settings I went through, just a quick run through. I did a coffee shop background, just to give it a little bit of some more realism. I set that around 70 or 60, I think, for this client. And then the interruption sensitivity for this agent, they wanted it a little bit higher, so we kept it around 85. Back channeling, this is just simple. For those of you who don't know, you can see my in-depth tutorial on retail AI over here, but this is just a general overview of the key critical settings you need in order to just get started. Left all of this as normal. And then I also went through, and the only thing we configured in the post-call analysis was extracting the caller name. For this, the client wanted the name to pop up in the Google Sheet, so we put caller name. Just give it a brief description. Extract caller name from the conversation. Save. Boom. Security settings, left that as default. And then webhook settings, we'll use that later. So the last thing I did here was just make it so we have a defined beginning message. And for this, I said exactly what we wanted it to be in Portuguese, except in English. So thank you for calling. This is Mia. How may I help you? Then we copy and paste all of this information. It's important you grab it all without actually copying it from down here, because it makes it weird formatted in a unique way when you put it into retail. So you just copy and paste it that way. That's the best way I found. Okay, and hit save. Perfect. So now from there, we spent about 2 hours testing the agent, fine-tuning it, tweaking the prompting until it was really, really solid in the English mode. We had some gimmicks, obviously, when you're first using it, using just this generic prompt builder, but it does a pretty good job. So after that was done, that's when we translated over into Portuguese. And so another thing is, when you're testing the agent, you can save a lot of time by just using the test LLM, so you don't have to spend all this money with the actual voice, and it takes a lot longer. So you could just say, hello, and I'm Mia, your virtual assistant from Bloom. Hey, what do you offer? And then you can talk to it right there, just like that. Okay. And it would go through it. So there were some rules, and I'll only highlight a few of them. Like, for instance, make sure when you're building these agents, you'll learn more about this in my group if you join, but you want to make sure the agent has a conversation like it's a phone call. So say something like, do not ramble, keep conversations short and succinct, and limit to 3 sentences. That's basically our process that we used. And then from there, we took all of that information once we had tried it over and over and over and over again, and it sounded really good. We took that and we said, ChatGPT, please, my best friend, translate this prompt into a original translation. And then we basically put that into there. So I didn't have any Portuguese friends at the time, so I really had to just figure this out on my own, which was a little challenging at first. And I took the agent that had been winning and working really well, cloned it, and we'll hit clone duplicate, and this is the copy. And then so I logged into this one and just put, and this is the important part. So we kept all the settings constant, except we changed the voice. So there's a few options here. The best voices I have found for doing any sort of foreign agents is through 11 Labs. Typically that means for retail is you have to go up to this section here, add a custom voice, and that's very simple. All you have to do, go to 11 Labs, find a voice that you like, preferably one that has the accent really nailed down. So you'd go to My Voices, hit Library, and I used one called Bia for Brazilian, middle-aged Brazilian female voice. Once you click on it, right here is where you want to grab this ID. Copy that, bring it over to retail. There it is. Use custom voice. You have to make sure you choose the right 11 Labs model. I've tried all these. They just added the Flash one. It's new. You want to use multilingual, fast, and high quality. Okay, you don't want to use multilingual, fastest, and medium quality. The quality is very important. So 11 Labs Turbo V2.5 is the best one, hands down, for multilingual voices. Hit that one, and then we'll replace our prompt. So paste that in there. You could just change this language here and think you're all good. So we scroll down to find Portuguese, Brazil, and not end up changing the voice. And what ends up happening is it speaks with the English voice, but it has a strong English accent, and it's terrible when you're trying to impress a client. And the worst part is you don't even know, because you don't know the language that the accent's off. So make sure you hit Portuguese here for the language, and then import the custom voice from retail, and you should be all set to go. And then from there you can test it out. Since I don't speak Portuguese, I speak Spanish instead. It's pretty similar, but not the same. I went over here to voice preview with ChatGPT. Hey ChatGPT, what I want you to do is have a conversation with another voice assistant that only speaks Portuguese. I want you to kind of test it, talk to it in native Brazilian Portuguese, and then at the end tell me how it sounds. So here we go. Here goes the conversation, and then I would hit test over here.
Nossa, você parece bem útil. Como você ajuda as pessoas no dia a dia?
Olá, eu sou a Mia, sua assistente virtual da Learn Global. Estou aqui para ajudar você com informações.
Você poderia me dar exemplo entrar o curso perfeito?
Claro. Por exemplo, se você me disser que quer aprender inglês para viagens...
Okay, so I don't even have to speak the language, but I can have AI test it for me, and then at the end it would give me an analysis on how well it did. But then just to be sure, because AI's still got a ways to go, I would take that recording and send it to my client to see how it was performing, and then they would yay or nay it. In this particular case, they loved it. It sounded amazing to them. They loved the accent, and then we were good to go in terms of the retail side of things. So now we'll head over to Twilio and set up the client's phone number that will be associated with this agent. So the way that I did this, first I bought a number in Brazil. And this is exactly what you'll see when you first make your own Twilio account. So we'll go over here to Brazil, and let's just find a number with the area code that we like. So in this instance, I'll actually buy it. It was in Rio, to be precise. Hit next. And this is where you can choose whether this is for a business or an individual. In this case, it was technically for an individual, so I went ahead and chose an individual. And then assign approved bundle. So this is where you'd actually have to make a regulatory bundle in order for this agent to work with the associated number. And the reason for this is these regulatory compliance bundles ensure that the phone number is compliant with local telecom regulations. If you don't have it, you literally cannot buy a number in certain countries like you see here. So the first thing we'll do is go back, and we're gonna make a regulatory bundle. So you go to regulatory compliance bundles, and we'll go create a bundle, regulatory bundle. And this is where you choose the country code. So for this, we'll choose Brazil. Select phone number, we'll do a local, local one. Next. And in this case, we had to choose individual. Now, in many cases, you will have to make a business number, but in some cases, you will have to do an individual. So I'll go through the individual one for the purpose of this video. And as that's loading, you'll see what happens. Okay, and so I'll just put test for this, client test. This is where you'd put in the individual information that you are registering. So this could be the owner of the phone number that's going to be used in the said country that you're servicing. Just know what's going on. For our client, we had to do two things. First, a proof of legitimacy of the individual, so like a passport, right? And in this case, so I think we chose passport. We had issue getting the government issued ID to actually work, so passport worked great. Okay. And then for this, you also have to do a proof of address. So that looks like maybe a tax notice, a rent receipt, title deed, something like. And then you just put in the names, and then I agree. And so when you hit continue here, it will actually go ahead and create the regulatory bundle. So I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want to send it over a false one, but that's all you need to do. And then once that's created, then you can go over and assign that regulatory bundle here like we did before when you're going ahead and buying the number. So the process for us took about an entire day for it to be verified by Twilio, but once it was verified, it worked great. At first it got declined and within a couple hours because there was an issue with the exact residency photo that the guy was using, but now it worked great. So I just want to be very transparent with you, show you what that actually looks like behind the scenes. This is the kind of thing that most people don't talk about. They talk about building the agent, how beautiful it looks, but this is the behind the scenes that you have to nail in order for the agent to actually work in the real world. This kind of thing can shut you down, make you, or break you, depending on how you handle it. And now, if you want to actually see how to integrate this Twilio number that we've bought with Retail AI, and the way you do that, I have a video linked, which you can watch. It's very simple. Just follow the tutorial and then you'd link it into the phone number section right here. And you do it with SIP trunking. Okay. One mistake I might mention to help you so that you can avoid a similar pitfall was when we were getting the number working, it was all approved. And then when the client was testing it, it kept saying busy. And the reason for that actually ended up being because we hadn't funded the account. It was still on the trial, as you can see up here. And don't make that mistake. Make sure you fund the account. Make sure you get your client to understand very clearly that they need to put in 10, 15, 20 bucks at least just for the agent to begin work. No, I wish somebody had told me that before I had started doing this. Now onto the back end. I used Make.com for this client to automate all of the call logs. That way I don't have to manually track anything, which is perfect. And the way I set this up is the client made their own Make.com account, which was paid for about $10 a month. And then I logged into that account and created two simple modules. The first is a custom webhook, and the second is just a Google Sheets. Now it's important to note that I created the Google Sheets, but I had the client copy that onto their same Google account that was used to create the Make.com account. This is the Google Sheets that I used over here. It's just a simple call date, name of caller, caller's phone, call summary, and the call transcript, call recording. And the way that this works is first, we have the custom webhook. I've gone ahead and just made that. I can make one again just to show you. You'd hit add and then hit save and name it. And you copy this address right to your clipboard, bring it over to Retail, and you want to insert that right here. And then we go back over to Make.com, and then you press redetermine data structure, and then give the agent a call. Let's go back over to Retail, and before we hit redetermine data structure, you first want to test the agent. So what I did first was test the American agent, and then we'd go over to the Brazilian agent just to make sure that the Make.com automation was working fine. Let's hit test.
Thank you for calling Learn Global. This is Mia. How may I help you?
Hey Mia, how are you today?
Hi, I'm Mia, your virtual assistant from Learn Global. I'm here and ready to help you with anything you need about our language programs.
Hey Mia,
How can I assist you today?
my name is Mark.
Hi, Mark. It's great to meet you. How can I assist you with Learn Global's language
Same.
programs?
So that's good enough for us to get this qualified here. Successfully determined. If we go over to the Google Sheets, you can see that this information has come through. Sometimes the post-call analysis doesn't come through on the first try, and so what you have to do is actually go here and save this, and then go immediately as data arrives. You want to flip that on, hit delete all data, delete, and hit OK, and then click this back arrow here. It's very important. So now we're just going to watch this system run and wait till the post-call analysis information actually comes through. So I'm going to run it, and boom, we've sent over this information. So let's see what's being captured here. This is exactly what we want, call analyzed. Now, sometimes what comes through is call ended or call started. What you want here is call analyzed. That's very important, yes. So only the call analyzed mode will produce this call analysis function at the bottom, and that's what we want. Start with the call date. That's just the start timestamp right there, and you're just copy and pasting information at this point. So call analysis. See this button? You want to press this to get that custom analysis that we set up, and then go to custom analysis data right there. So the caller name is Matt. Perfect. Caller's phone. This would only work if we have the number set up and we're connected to it, so we're going to leave that blank right now. But if I was calling with a phone number as opposed to the web, then that would come through. And then call summary, which Retail is cool because it provides a default call summary, but you can also generate your own custom kind of call summary if you want. Call transcript. It's the last thing. We just put in the call transcript and also the call recording. So I put that there. Perfect. And now when we hit save, we can talk to the agent again.
Thank you for calling Learn Global. This is Mia. How may I help you?
Hey Mia, how are you today?
Hi, Mia, your virtual assistant from Learn Global. I'm here and ready to help you with anything you need today.
My name is Tech Tomlet.
Nice to meet you, Tech. How can I assist you on your language learning journey today?
Perfect. And now we're going to hit end there, and you can see this information should be firing and sending through. So there it is. Yep, there it is. Beautiful. So we see Tech Tomlet, and then the user, there's a call summary, call transcript, call recording. This was really important to the client to have all that information in one place, all on their back end. Now, the last thing we'll do, if you've watched any of my videos before, you just want to put in the filter. So make sure you set event to call analyze. This will just prevent duplicates in the Google Sheets like you saw earlier. Set up, hit save, and you're all good to go on the back end. And then it would all be set up and working. So that's exactly how we did it, not hiding anything, not gatekeeping any information, how we built this backend system for our Portuguese client. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Today we walked through exactly how to build and sell an AI voice agent for over $950 in just one day. And if you want to make this happen for yourself, join my community below. You won't regret it. You'll get all the tools and strategies and support to start building and selling these AI voice agents. And if you're a business who would like to work with me, feel free to reach out. As always, have an incredible rest of your day.
Tech Tomlet, where AI finds its voice. Come for the tech, stay for the transformation.